Have you ever wished you could, unlock that secret code to sounding totally fluent in English? I'm talking about idioms, Those sayings that make perfect sense to native speakers but can leave English learners confused.
Right.
Well, get ready to impress all your English-speaking friends, because today we are diving deep into 8 super common idioms that, honestly, you can start using today.
Yeah.
And to help us unpack these linguistic gems, we have a fantastic lesson from Let's Talk Academy to help guide us.
They're great at breaking down not just the meaning, but how to actually use idioms naturally.
Right. So no more memorizing phrases from a textbook. We're going for smooth, confident, you got this fluency.
Yeah.
Let's kick things off with throw in the towel. This one always brings those classic boxing movies to mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. A powerful image. That moment when a fighter is totally spent and the trainer tosses the towel in to signal defeat.
Exactly. It's that point of saying, okay, I'm beat, I can't go on.
Now, we've all heard the phrase, spill the beans, but how many of us actually know what it means, really means?
Right, because on the surface, it seems pretty straightforward, right? Oh, you dropped some beans, whoops.
But we're talking about idioms here, those phrases where the meaning goes way beyond the literal words. So what's the deal with spill the beans? What are we really saying when we use this phrase?
Spilling the beans means you're revealing a secret. And the thing is, it can be totally accidental, you didn't mean to let the cat out of the bag, but oops, it slipped out.
Or it can be totally intentional, you just can't hold it in any longer and you just got to tell somebody. Kind of like those moments when you're bursting with excitement about a surprise and have to tell someone so you don't explode.
Exactly. And our sources actually give some pretty relatable examples of this in action. One talks about a surprise party, the classic.
Oh no, someone spilled the beans and ruined the surprise.
Yeah, exactly that. It was supposed to be this big secret, but someone just couldn't keep their mouth shut. Take it with a grain of salt. Taking something with a grain of salt basically boils down to not accepting everything you hear or read as the absolute truth. Especially, and this is key, if it seems like it might be exaggerated or just, coming from a biased point of view.
Which, let's be honest, is a lot of what we come across these days, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
Think about it. How many times have you heard a wild story and thought, I wonder if they're stretching the truth just a tad?
Or those online reviews, right? Something can have a perfect 5-star rating, but...
there's got to be at least one grumpy person out there who wasn't thrilled, right?
Exactly. So this is where that grain of salt comes in handy. It's about engaging that little voice in your head that says, okay, maybe let's wait for a second opinion before jumping on this bandwagon.
I like that. Not being cynical, just cautious.
Exactly. It reminds us to engage critical thinking, not blindly accepting everything we hear.
Don't just swallow information whole.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask yourself, who's saying this? What's their angle? What might be missing?
That healthy skepticism is crucial. Bend over backwards.
Ooh, now there's a classic.
Yeah, right. So bend over backwards. Let's break it down. It's not about yoga poses, right? It's about going the extra mile. But what's that even mean, on a deeper level?
You've hit it. It's about going above and beyond, exceeding expectations, often to your own inconvenience, which is interesting when you think about it.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's not always a good thing, is it?
Well, hold that thought. We'll circle back to that. But for now, think about it. Customer service is a great example. That rep who spends an hour on the phone when they're swamped, just to fix your problem.
Yeah.
Bending over backward.
Oh, for sure.
It's often tied to expectations, especially in business, marketing even.
Oh, you mean we bend over backwards for you?
Exactly. It sets them apart, but it also sets a high bar, which isn't always sustainable.
Whoa, never thought about the marketing angle, but it makes sense.
Everyone wants that VIP treatment, right?
Absolutely. But it's not just customer service, though. I'd use that phrase for my friends,
Precisely. Personal relationships are full of this. Cut to the chase.
Ah, cut to the chase. It sounds so simple, so straightforward, but there are some really interesting nuances to it.
Right. It's more than just saying, hurry up. It's this whole cultural statement about how we value communication. At least that's what our sources seem to suggest.
Absolutely. Think about what it implies. When you say cut to the chase, you're essentially saying time is precious, so let's not waste it on unnecessary details or roundabout explanations.
We want the bottom line. No detours. Exactly.
Mm.
And that prioritization of directness and efficiency, that's a big part of what gives the phrase its weight.
Jump on the bandwagon. So, basic idea, right? Joining something trendy just because it's popular, not even because you've thought about it much, just everyone else is doing it.
Right. Like those shoes a while back. Everyone had them. They looked kind of weird.
Exactly. Point is, it feels almost instinctive. But there's actually a ton of psychology behind why we jump on the bandwagon.
Oh, absolutely. This goes way deeper than just, following the crowd. It taps into this fundamental human need. We want to belong, to fit in, being social creatures, like it's wired into us.
Okay, so fitting in feels good. Makes sense. But there's also that feeling of, if I'm not in on this, I'm missing out, which is like FOMO.
Huge, especially these days. Think about it. Constant social media, everyone's sharing how great a thing is. You start to feel almost left behind if you're not part of it.
Totally.
Bite the bullet. Ever use that one?
All the time. I mean, it's such a vivid image.
It is. And get this, it comes from like way back when, like battlefield surgeries.
No way. Seriously.
Yeah, soldiers, no anesthesia, major ouchies. They'd literally bite down on a bullet.
Wow. Makes sense, though. Facing something difficult head on, like those soldiers, that takes guts.
So next time you're putting off something tough, remember, it's got to bite the bullet and get her done.
Love it. Okay, the other one that caught my eye was, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Oh, that's a classic. And so relevant these days, right?
Totally. Diversification is key, man. Like, investing in just one stock, risky. Same goes for, well, anything really. Career choices, relationships, you name it.
Don't put all your hopes and dreams on just one thing, right?
Exactly. Always good to have options, a plan B, just in case.
It's like hope for the best, but
prepare for the worst, right?
Exactly. So we've talked about how cool idioms are, but how does using them actually make you sound more fluent?
Well, for one, it shows you're not just memorizing vocabulary lists. You're understanding the culture, the little nuances.
Right, like those insider jokes that only make sense if you get it.
Precisely. And it makes your English sound smoother, more natural, less like you're translating in your head.
Like you've leveled up your language skills.
Exactly.
It's a journey, right? The more idioms you learn, the more confident you become.
Absolutely. And it never stops being fun discovering those quirky phrases.
So, for everyone listening, here's a thought to chew on. As you come across idioms, look into their history. It's amazing how much culture and history is packed into these phrases.
I hope our listeners are feeling empowered, right, to sprinkle them into their own conversations.
Exactly. And for our listeners, if you're loving this crash course, remember this is just the beginning.
Right.
The English language is packed with fascinating idioms.
Oh, yeah.
Each one a window into like the culture and the history and even the humor of English speakers.
Absolutely.
So I encourage you to approach language learning as this like ongoing adventure.
Yeah.
Every new word, every new phrase that you master is a victory, bringing you one step closer to fluency.
It really is.
And to a deeper understanding. And hey, if you come across any other linguistic mysteries on your language learning journey, things that have you stumped, don't hesitate to reach out to us.
Please.
We love nothing more than to geek out about language,
Absolutely.
and to help you navigate this ever-evolving world of English.
It's been a pleasure joining you on this linguistic adventure, as always.
The feeling is mutual. Until next time, happy learning, everyone.